Now that the year is finally over, I can wholeheartedly say that 2020 was shit. And I'm not talking about the anime that was airing that year, I just mean it was all around shitty. Now 2021 on the other hand, probably also shit, but you don't have time to think about things like that because the winter anime season is upon us and you have to make sure you are caught up on every single show. Otherwise, your friends might leave you behind and God forbid not being able to argue online about which of the 15 isekai airing this season is peak fiction. And if I lost you with the word friend, then you definitely clicked on the right video because today we're going to be discussing rom-coms. Specifically, one of the most popular romantic comedies out there right now, at least according to my anime list, that is. What's up fellow degenerates, my name is Bwucshot and I'm going to be talking about the romance manga Horimiya to explain why you absolutely have to check out this anime. If you've never heard of this series until recently, we're in the same boat. I had no idea this existed until I saw it was getting an adaptation by Cloverworks, which immediately piqued my interest. If you've seen shows like Bunny Girl Senpai, Promised Neverland, or Darling in the Franxx, then you know that Cloverworks hardly misses with their adaptations. And if that wasn't enough, the same director of Shinsekai Yori is also helming the series, and that anime is one of my absolute favorites. If you don't know what that is, definitely go check out my other video on it, it's definitely worth a watch. After reading through the first 6 volumes of Horimiya, I can wholeheartedly say that Cloverworks is absolutely gonna kill it with this series. Now, I know I'm hyping up this series without even explaining what the show is about, so let me explain with only minor spoilers, but don't worry, I'll only be discussing things that happen within the first few chapters that set up the overall story. The title Horimiya is actually pretty straightforward. It's a mashup of the two main characters' last names, Kyoko Hori and Izumi Miyamura. At first, the story seems rather cliche actually, with Hori being your stereotypical popular high school girl who accidentally drops her eraser in class one day, only to be picked up and returned to her by Miyamura, a dark and quiet classmate who gives off extreme otaku vibes. Now, you probably think you know where this is going considering the genre, but to Hori's surprise, she runs into Miyamura outside of school and discovers a completely different side of him. Fitted with 9 piercings and covered with tattoos, Miyamura reveals to Hori that the dark and depressing persona he puts on at school is just a front to prevent him from standing out in any way, as Miyamura doesn't really care much for school life or the people there. But Hori isn't the only one surprised, because Miyamura soon discovers that Hori is just as fake as he is in school, as she is essentially a single mother to her little brother Sota, spending all of her time taking care of him without the help of her parents. But ultimately, the two decide to keep each other's secrets and slowly begin to befriend one another, finally able to let out their true identities around each other without the stress of following social norms. That's the general concept you'll see within the first episode or so, but honestly, that's just barely scratching the surface. This manga perfects the rom-com genre so well because they actually give the characters time to develop their relationships naturally, as Hori and Miyamura spend the first volumes just getting to know each other better. They're both written in a way that doesn't seem too over the top or unrealistic, making it seem like they both could be actual people living in Japan right now. As the two of them begin spending more time together, they unknowingly become dependent on one another, along with Sota, who finds a father figure in Miyamura that he never really had before. The manga excels at introducing characters that have little relevance at first, but slowly begin to become essential to the story over time. Toru Ishikawa is the first person to discover Miyamura's true identity. While at first has a falling out with him, he gradually warms up to the two as he struggles to find his own identity within himself. There's a ton of other interesting characters to look forward to as well, such as Remy, a member of the student council who is suspicious of Hori and Miyamura's sudden friendship, or Kyosuke, Hori's absent father who returns only to take a sudden interest in his daughter's relationship with Miyamura. There's a whole plethora of characters that I could go on about forever, but the best way for you to understand is to check out the series and meet them for yourself. Horimiya isn't all fun and games, however, and I will say the manga does have some dark moments when getting into the core of the insecurities Hori and Miyamura have within themselves. But that's expected, especially if you're living with two separate identities, and they struggle with the idea of which version of themselves is the real one and which is the fake. Overall, Horimiya is a wild ride full of actual laugh-out-loud comedy, genuine character development, heartbreaking discoveries, and everything in between. It's honestly so good I can't put it down. Like, seriously, I've read 6 volumes in less than a week, I can't stop. But if you don't want to get invested into a long series such as this, or just don't really read manga in the first place, then I cannot recommend enough that you check out the first season once it starts airing January 9th on Crunchyroll. If you made it this far in the video, thanks for sticking around, and I hope I could somewhat interest you in either picking up this manga or giving the anime a try, because really, it deserves so much more love and praise than it gets. And if you didn't know, I'm also one of the hosts of the Baka Boys channel, where we do a weekly podcast as well as tons of other fun anime related content, so definitely go check that out because we talk more in depth about the manga in our 27th episode. Let me know if you'll be checking out the series down below, and remember to like and subscribe if you haven't already. And with that, I'm Bwucshot, signing off.